Travis went good, so don't even think about it. Being bugged to do this video. The previous video that I've already uploaded on YouTube about the Christ, concerning the Christ, whatever it was. You'll notice a grove of trees. They're the redwoods, in case you didn't know, and Michigan with the Great Lakes. The first vision of Joseph Smith with Nephi coming to Joseph Smith. Remember, we're all about the Joseph Smith papers now. We're doing away with all the lies and cover-ups and editings of the church. And it's not about setting up Joseph, because if you'll notice in 2 Nephi chapter 3, it's talking about Joseph. Well, that was senior, in case you didn't know. Book of Mormon is not literal. Remember, Jesus is in there? So it's not literal, because we all know from the first vision, the first creed of Christianity was that Jesus is an abomination. But in so showing that we're not Christian, and that Jesus is not our Christ, and setting up Joseph Smith to be our Christ, the founder of Mormonism, it's also a prophecy for the last days Christ that Joseph Smith also talks about, section 103:16. Raise up a man among my people who shall lead them like as Moses. That comes from Nephi talking with Joseph about Deuteronomy chapter 18, starting in verse 15, about the man like Moses in the latter days. And so the grove with the lakes of Michigan, where does that come from? What is Joseph Smith doing? Because Joseph Smith is fulfilling it, because he starts the whole thing off with being visited by the Messiah and his father, and he's in the grove of trees, and he's in western New York near the Great Lakes. And so what you have is a prophecy fulfillment, as Joseph Smith was commonly trying to do. You know, the Isaiah passage with Charles Anton to make up for Martin Harris. That's from Ezekiel chapter 17. And Bruce R. McConaughey puts in, Ezekiel shows in a parable how Israel, while subject to Babylon, and remember 1 Nephi chapter 1 verse 16, Babylon shall fall. Babylon. Who's Babylon? It's not Babylon. Babylon's fallen a long time ago. It's the great and abominable church with the great and abominable Christ that has taken hostage the Mormons, of whom the latter-day Christ, whom Joseph Smith said would be a Mormon, would come through. And so Ezekiel is writing a parable. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man. Oh, that's the title given in Matthew chapter 24 and into 25, I think, also, but at least 24. It's Jesus talking to his disciples, and then all of a sudden he's talking about Son of Man, Son of Man, Son of Man, Son of Man. Third person? Which is not really third person. It's more complicated than that because he doesn't exist. Let's see, what did I name this one? I just finished the other video on Mormon. Okay. Going to lunch here, and written in the learning of the Jews. So that's what Joseph Smith was doing with his 1838 history. He was writing it in the learning of the Jews. And we've all been deceived to miss it. Put forth a riddle and speak a parable unto the house of Israel. So he talks about a great eagle with great wings, long feathers, diverse colors, comes to Lebanon. What's with Lebanon? Well, all of this has to do with the Egyptians. Because Osiris's first death, his coffin with 9-inch nails lands on the beach of Beirut, Lebanon, which was Babel. Yeah, the Tower of Babel, not Babylon. But interesting how they put Babylon with Babel. And took of the highest branch. If you've ever read your Isaiah or Jeremiah, and I think there's at least one other guy who calls the Messiah the branch. Ta-da! They're all referring to this Egyptian story anciently, because the coffin, a tree of cedar of Lebanon, then grows in its place, and the king of Lebanon, king of Babel, comes and carves it into the Dej pillar of Osiris, the Tower of Babel, and it's kind of merged after many millennia. Messed up. But Isis, his wife, sends out her slaves and missionaries out to gather in the body of Osiris to bring him back, and that's the sacrament. For the one person who's looking for the video, you know who you are. And then gives birth to Horus. So when Horus goes back to take on Set, who murdered his father, for the throne, the way Horus wins is he feeds him salad with special sauce. Set gets pregnant, gives birth to the branch, and shows that that's Horus, and thus Horus wins. And Satan, Set, is cast out of Egypt, and all is happiness for a millennial reign of peace. That's where it all comes from. And so that's what it's referring to here. And so he's talking about the last days Messiah, who is the Horus figure. And so take the young twigs into a land of traffic. He said it in a city of merchants. So you're looking for cedars of Lebanon type trees, tall, strong. Ta-da! Oakland, California, where the redwoods are. And the grove of trees. And then he takes him, moves him to great waters, like a willow tree, common in Michigan. The great waters. So this is where Joseph Smith was getting it from. Western New York, the great waters of Michigan, and the willow trees, and the grove of trees. So it's Joseph fulfilling it, and he's also prophesying for Mormons that the last days Christ is going to be the fulfillment of this same prophecy as well. Simple, easy breezy cover girl.